Three, two, one.
Hello, Internet friends, and welcome to Last Call of Cthulhu for one of the last times. We are here with the Great Danes that was just a fun episode. I just enjoyed the heck out of that. It was, it was a lot of callbacks. You know, we had to bring back a lot of stuff from the olden days, but it was also like half that episode was a fight, which is not our normal thing.
True.
Oh, I wouldn't say we were fighting.
Yeah, I think it was an escape. It was an escape.
Half of the episode was an event.
Yeah, that's right. There you go.
My feelings on it, it was like rats in a maze, but instead of cheese at the end, there was a fire spreading at the beginning.
Yeah.
You're running away instead of running to.
Yep.
Like that was utterly
accurate, completely accurate.
The consequences of what could have happened, like in an instant, were like so horrifying.
But I mean, you're kind of a freebie. Like I almost was like, I'll kill Nick because then I can have a new Jared.
It's not this. I don't know if it'd be tough. It'd be tough at this
then we
point.
could bring back naked Jared.
No, he was incinerated.
Got blasted to pieces.
All right.
Brighton, remember?
Darn it.
Yeah, I think it's kind of funny because, I would love to at some point, get more into the original plan for Jared. But, I think that, and it's weird because this Jared, I think we've grown too fond of.
Yeah.
I don't want to have to try and convince another Jared that he's a clone, because we've already had to do that once and it was irritating the first time.
No, the next Jared was planned to be he wasn't. I think he was going to be fine with joining. He would have folded in fine, but this Jared, like, especially the point where he murdered the guy in San Francisco, it was supposed to be like, oh, maybe we don't want this Jared was supposed to be.
But we didn't know about that.
Yeah.
Oh, but then it got revealed. But it's the idea that he was building upon this, like, reasons for like, oh, maybe you're not the kind of person we want to have with us.
Okay, no, here's the thing. If I can only speak for Susanna, of course. Mm-hmm. But if that were the sort of thing that stopped Susanna, she would have shot every single member of this party and walked away.
Yeah.
He's no worse than anyone else.
He started it and was more intentional. And again, this was him moving along that vector, and then it was kind of like, oh, this is going to be a real pain to actually.
And initially Nick and I talked, and he wanted to have a bit where he met a happy Jared, and
basically a Jared that had it all sorted out. And that's when I mentioned earlier that, like, if we're going to do third Jared, who's going to play my kid?
Right.
Like, he had a family and everything was together with his life, and he had figured out how to be happy, and that like really burnt up this Jared, who's just like, I don't have a soul, everything's horrible, and the only thing I can think to do is like hurt the things that are above me. Like, I want to kill the gods. I want to bring everything crashing down if I can.
Okay, Oedipus.
There you go.
So the challenge for that from a story perspective for me became like, if I do, that would all either have to happen off screen, or because if we show up at a farm and there's a Jared there, that became a different situation. And so, especially once naked Jared became like, I used naked Jared to see like how you guys would respond to a Jared, and you were just like, eh.
Well, he wasn't a great Jared. He got what he deserved.
Yeah, he was also as far as just a person.
He was super happy.
Well, but that's sort of he
was being a jerk too.
He wasn't. Yeah. The point is that he wasn't like fulfilled. He hadn't figured anything out. He was just blindly like, well, I'm just not going to do anything. I'm going to be a layabout, and it's like there's nothing admirable behind it. This was a like, oh, I could have been this person and I'm not, and I can't cope with not being this person.
Yeah, there was nothing really to react to with naked Jared. He was just flopped out in the sun enjoying himself. There was nothing to do with that.
Yeah. So the sort of farmer Jared idea, I was like trying to find a place where that could have fit in. And every once in a while, Nick and I would be like, maybe, no, I don't know. It's not, because that also sort of needed you guys to be in one place. Like, honestly, that house that you guys noped out of, I was like, that could be a Farmer Jared place, you know?
You're just like, oh,
Look at that.
you see a house
Bye.
no one else does.
What I should have done
Bye.
is I said, you see a house and there's a Jared there. Because a ghost Jared, that would have been interesting.
Wow.
Jareds don't have souls.
No.
And Jareds don't have souls.
Yeah.
Oh,
That
well,
would have
there is a catch anyhow. Never mind.
That would have been what makes it interesting.
Yeah.
Ouch.
Yeah.
So the concept of Jareds, is that sort of in the mythos, or did you make that up
No,
from cloth,
so-
or what?
No, actually, Nick said in our in character creation, he's like, what if I'm a clone?
Uh-huh.
And then we decided that he would die that first episode and they would meet another one. And then I was like, why is there a clone? And who cloned him? And that became the overarching story of the whole thing. Of sort of, you know, if there's a clone, A, there are probably other clones, and B, who cloned him? You know.
If we ever revisit, it's possible to do, but like, for this, it just wasn't. It was too. I flew too close to the sun.
Well, you know, that's
that's
worth
funny.
knowing for
Yeah,
the
no, it's good.
future.
It's
Yeah.
good.
Well, I'm also being really lazy because I want to do a character arc without having a character actually grow. It's just do it in the separate pieces. And it was like, now I'm
gotcha.
being bit in the butt for being lazy. That's on me.
Gotcha. Do all the different pieces and those are different. That's nice. I like that. I have to remember that.
But yeah, this was, you know, like the last, this was not the end of the callbacks. There are going to be a number of, there are going to be a couple other callbacks to things that have happened throughout this. But, you know, it's
Is Emperor Norton going to be at the pyramid?
No, I don't have to play two characters at once, do I?
you know, it's funny. I was trying to figure out, how do we get Jonesy and Renee down here?
Yeah. Yeah.
Vacation
Oh,
to
yeah.
Cancun.
Mexican girls trip.
Easy.
Oof.
Jonesy would be very happy to come.
What were the name of the brothers? The aliens. Because if we could get a ride from them to
what were they called? The Bryant Brothers? No, it was something like that. It was like a.
Oh,
Yeah.
I have it written down somewhere.
That-
but like,
That would be a funny callback to just have them show up, blow some things up.
Nab Jared run.
Yeah, this is pretty bad. Let's get you out of here.
So I guess the were the angels always the great old ones, or whatever it is they were here?
So yes. So essentially, the angel thing is their camouflage. And so that's why you heard that weird noise, because I rolled and the poor thing fumbled, and so his like angel disguise failed. And you saw the cone of, you know, elephant skin is their actual form.
But they can be shot and damaged, or no?
You haven't tried yet. I mean,
Santa Ana did,
Yeah,
but
he did.
I mean, it didn't
seem
didn't
to
kill it for sure, but maybe it damaged it.
remember
decent
that
to
Jared carved one apart. Like,
Yep.
it was in a weakened state, so you don't know what sort of defenses they have, but they can be killed, absolutely. And then the tree swished one.
Carving them apart works very effectively.
it wasn't that form, was it, when you were in the
a fleshy reptilian stalagmite thing.
Mhm.
okay.
Oh, that's
Yeah, that's
okay.
what the
Very
Native
good.
Americans had in their
That
cave.
is a
as
terrible,
prisoner.
terrible sentence.
Yeah, but that now I get it. Now I can see it. Yeah.
And so the angel thing is just a disguise they use to fascinate humans and to scare them. and to-
Interesting.
So they were showing up to
The Covington
Alliance.
gang. The Covington gang.
Oh yeah, the
Yes.
Covington gang. Yeah, that's right.
but they weren't. Did they know about Jared then?
I mean, they were trying to find the Jared. I mean, they know they know about Jared's. They didn't know
Right,
they didn't necessarily know about this Jared.
Right.
And who knows? I mean, you've seen at least two other Jareds that were not under their yoke. So who knows what that means? And
Right.
then there are at least two other lines of clones.
Oh.
Okay.
Mhm.
But Nick, did you know
Freaking
that
girl.
that they were camouflaged?
he knew
No.
what
Or
the
did
great
Jared
race-
know? Okay.
He knew that was not the great. He didn't think that was the great race, the Angels.
Yeah.
Gosh.
I mean, I still don't know that. So
Well, that's why I told you that, when you saw the Angel, you're like, that's not your master. That's not your.
I mean, all I know is my experience with the one that I think that they are basically under their yoke as well.
Yeah.
And that they can, that basically they can take me over and use me as basically, that's why I brought up having the brand back in
right.
that city against being possessed, and that's why like Jared jumped on that. Everyone else is like, I don't know if I trust this. Jared's like, give me first.
Yeah. Yeah, that was an excellent. I'm excited for the end. There's going to be some fun stuff going on there,
Cool.
and then we'll get to take a little time off and start doing it all over again.
All right.
Off we go.
In a very different way.
Yes.
Anybody have any? Is there anything any of you need for your characters in the last episode? Is there anything that has to happen for your characters in the last episode?
I have a thought, but I will message you about it.
Okay. Well, and you and I have talked a little bit about.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't know. I guess Ramsey has
puts
to
us
make
all
sure
down.
that they really, that this group really thinks that they're cool.
All right.
You know what I mean? Not not cool, but that I'm really
Or part of
the
the
group.
team.
Yes. Yes.
You saved Jared's bacon.
I like Jared looking at the hut going, there was a hut right there.
Wait.
But it was one of those things where I didn't want to, because I'm like, Jared is too panicked to think. So I didn't want him to articulate it, but finally got to a point where it's like, we were like, Nick was thinking like, we're right at a hut. We could have like, why? No,
This
like,
is
I
the
don't
place
wanna
we had
say
to go.
anything.
It's so that that's
So my initial plan for that attack, and I have written down here like camp attack by great old ones and then Jared warning, because my initial thought was like you would wake up before everybody else and sort of be aware of it. But then I remembered that I had the beast, so this was essentially like a 3-way fight with the beast, and I forgot about the beasts in that. And the beast was the first thing, because the beast just wanted the altar. I also had a whole thing where if you'd caused any trouble, you were going to get thrown in the stable, and you would have seen a poor beaten up Fulgencio there.
oh
And then the stable would have blown up, and it would have been,
Who is he?
a very
again?
different. Huh?
Who's
Fulgencio was the guy who you
Concierge.
he was the guy you warned about
Yeah.
the idol. He was the guy you warned about
Oh.
going after the idol.
Well,
That's
you
who
should have
they-
listened to me.
That's who they stole the idol from.
yes. Yeah.
And they killed the priest. So, who knows if that beast is going to be wandering around.
Well,
That's a Mexico problem. I mean, unless it comes up to America, then it becomes an American problem.
That's a Mexican problem is also an excellent episode. That would cause all sorts of problems.
Yeah.
Well, all right. Let's do it next week, and we'll close it out. Patreons, thank you so much for all you do for us. We really appreciate it. And goodbye, Patreon friends.